evening, ladies and gentlemen. Time to start. Okay, this meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Required notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Certain portions of it may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Decisions made and/or discussed in the closed session will be made known to the public at a later date. All contract ordered by mayor and council must comply with affirmative action requirements PL 1975 C 127 NJAC 17:27. Fire exits are located in directions I am appointing. In case of a fire, you will be notified by me via the public address system. If you are not alerted for fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit or as directed by me over the public address system. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can we please do a roll call?
Yes, sir. Councilman Yucco.
Here.
Councilman Wilkinson.
Here.
Councilman Sires.
Here.
Councilwoman Story. Here. Councilman El Marassi.
Yes, here.
5 members present, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Kelly did call. He will be a few minutes late. And Mayor Riccardi is out on business. So that's where everybody's at. At this time, I'd like everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and all our perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in all our dangers and all our sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Madam Clerk, are there any communications this evening?
Yes, Mayor, we have 2. A request from the Roselle Park High School Marching Band to have no parking signs placed on West Webster Avenue between Laurel Avenue and Lawrence Street from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday, October 11, 2014 for their Tournament of Bands competition and the use of the DPW commuter lots to assist with the parking issues. They're also this year requesting the aid of a police officer for crowd control and security and to have the ambulance on site. Number 2, we have a request from the Girl Scout leaders to use the Anthony Signorella Youth Center every other Wednesday for their troop to meet.
Okay.
Here. You'll have to also work it out with the Scout.
Discussion that we have is that the question number 1 for the police officer, we'll be asking the chief if he can have his patrol units stop by, because if not, they would have to hire and pay for it. So later on, we will ask the chief if he could do the area extra. And of course, the Girl Scouts, you have to check to make sure the center is free, on those nights. So are there any other questions or comments?
Mayor, I make a motion to accept the communications as delivered. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Report and accommodation of the mayor. He's not here tonight, so we'll see that. Certificates and proclamations. We have none. Report of standing committees and others. So tonight, just see something right here. We will start with the 5th Ward Councilman Michael Yucco.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of quick things. Reminder, we're going to have a community watch meeting here Tuesday, the 21st of October at 7 p.m. Everybody's welcome. I want to discuss Halloween safety as we've done in the past. And those who can't make it, of course, we're going to try to give you the information via Facebook or any other resource that's available. Feel free to call me as well, 908-245-2118. But again, Tuesday the 21st of October at 7 p.m. here in Borough Hall. Everybody's welcome. Yesterday I had an opportunity to attend the back to school night at Aldine, as I've done in previous years, interact with the parents. It's a great opportunity to talk to parents about just safety in the drop-off zone. That's something we'd look to implement and had implemented years back. I know that it's a very narrow street on Myrtle Avenue, that there is a lot of volume, but I can say that since I appreciate the police department's help, the police officers have been there, parents have been able to drop off the kids safely and move on, and it looks like it's really under control now, so I'm very appreciative of the fact that everybody's paying attention to the safety there. The last thing, I have a request from a young man who, another person, this is different from the prior request, who wants to do an Eagle Scout project as well. They want to clean up and improve and do improvements to Boy Scout Park. So I'll pass this letter on to the clerk. We can take a look at it, and then if council has no issues with it, I'd like to give the gentleman the opportunity to connect with the DPW as others have done in the past and work out the details of doing that. Mark, I know you're here. As long as you guys are okay with it, I want to make sure that the young man has an opportunity to reach out to you guys directly, as long as no one on council objects. All right, so with that would conclude my report this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. First Ward Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two quick things. We have pending, I need to schedule the Bender Avenue Halloween quote-unquote committee meeting. We're going to meet as a committee first, and then we'll have a public meeting specifically for those residents that may be concerned about the holiday. The other thing I want to just touch on is 5-year plans that we talked about earlier, the 5-year capital plans. I'm happy to say that at this point there are a few departments that have submitted their plans. We're still collecting them. Once we have all of them, the Finance Committee will meet, and we're going to try to establish a schedule of improvements. And again, this is in an effort to level off the variations in encumbering debt by the municipality, so we can have a steady flow, and the departments can get what they need when they need it, and it'll make the budgeting process a little bit smoother in here. So looking forward to working on that later this month with the committee. Thank you.
Any possible dates that you can shoot out already, or?
No, we haven't collected all of the reports, all the 5-year plans yet, so once we...
No. I'm sorry.
Oh, the Bender Avenue committee. So it's going to consist of myself, Councilwoman Story, and yourself, so maybe after the meeting we'll talk about dates, and then we'll talk to the chief and figure out.
Okay.
No. Correct?
Thank you. Second Ward Councilman.
Thank you. First and foremost, this Saturday, right here, starting at 9 a.m., we will be having the foreclosure seminar. This is not just for people who may have received a foreclosure notice, if you've received a pre-foreclosure notice, or if you're just a little worried about how things are going with you financially and you want to know what steps you can take. This is a great opportunity for you to find out what to do and to hopefully lift some of the worries off your mind. So please do come. Everything is free and all information is confidential. Nobody will be getting your name. You don't have to, share any information that you don't want to. It's simply informational. We have a lot of very valuable brochures. We have English and Spanish. Anything that you need, any questions you have will be addressed. There's going to be PowerPoint presentations, the whole 9 yards. So please take advantage of this. We have too many empty houses in town as it is, and we want to keep you in your house. Secondly, coming up on the 18th and 19th of October will be 4 Centuries in a Weekend, which is the Union County Historical event. And here in Roselle Park, we will be having, focusing on the centenary of World War I. The museum has a wonderful exhibit on Roselle Park's role in World War I. And also you may have started to see some poems posted in the windows of some merchants. Thanks to volunteer Pat Butler, we have many merchants who have agreed to put up these poems from World War I, many of which were written by people who fought in the war. We will be giving out in two weeks, we will be starting to give out little booklets, and you can take the booklets into these merchants, you read the poem in their window, you take it into there, you get it initialed or stamped, and then you can drop it off at the library, and we will have prizes, different levels depending upon how many merchants you have gotten stamped. So it's a great way to become acquainted with some of our merchants that you may not have been into their stores, get to know them, and it's a great way to show that Roselle Park loves the arts. So again, when you see these strange things in the windows, that's what it is, and please help us support Roselle Park as the Doughboy Borough. Thanks very much.
Thank you. We will wait for Councilman Kelly if he comes. Word, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I don't have much to report, but I've been working in my ward to get some concern from our citizen, and I get obviously a couple parking issues being addressed to the chief of the police department. I'd like to thank him for taking care of those issues, and basically that's all I have to report for tonight.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman at large. Hey. On Friday, September 19th, I had I went to the movie fundraiser up at the Church of the Assumption for the gentlemen that are trying to get the Park Theater up and running again. It was a very nice turnout. A lot of people showed up. It was nice, all the people that came. Food was good. Sunday, September 21st, we had a pasta dinner up there for one of our Eagle Scouts for one of the projects he did. I'd like to thank all the Parkers, the people that came out to support him. On Saturday, September 27th, I attended the Concerned Citizens meeting that was held at the Vintage Restaurant on Westfield Avenue. It was a nice turnout, a lot of positive discussions, a lot of ideas came out, so that was good. I'd like to thank the people who came to my meet and greet on Monday. As you know, I do it every 3 months, so I thank everybody to come out. A few new faces, a few new questions, so thank you all that came. Just a couple upcoming events. This Saturday, even though Mother Nature says it's going to be pouring, the Knights of Columbus is doing a car wash and a food pantry drive up at the Church of the Assumption from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So if it's raining, we're not going to wash the car. But we will be out there with umbrellas, raincoats, whatever. If anybody has the food, we will walk up to the window and take it, because this time of the season, the food pantries are getting slim, and with the upcoming holidays, so we like to fill them up. And if by some chance it's not raining and you show up with food, you get a free car wash. Also, Councilwoman Stewart brought up the foreclosure workshop. Also that night from 7 to 10 is the other fundraiser at the Church of the Assumption for the movies up there. Saturday, October 11th, is the high school marching band competition. I hope everybody goes out and supports that. On Saturday, October the 18th, from 10 o'clock till 2 p.m. at the Roselle Park First Aid Squad, Kevin Murphy, myself, and a few other members will be doing Operation Chill Out again. That is the homeless vets in the state of New Jersey, which is now exceeding almost close to 8,000. We will be looking for winter stuff, long johns, hats, gloves, whatever. We'll take whatever you get, but now, we're looking at that. And that's basically all I have for my report. that's there. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I just found out. Two things, we should have opened up at the beginning of the meeting. My condolences go out to Helen Ivanowskis, school crossing guard that was at Alpine School, probably before Alpine School was built. She passed away, and Helen was dedicated. Wow, I had the privilege of working with her for many, many, many years, and she was really, really, she loved those kids, and she loved going to work. So Helen, I'm going to miss you, and so is everybody else. So that was that.
But if I could, along the same note, thank you for reminding me. We also lost 3 other residents in town, and got an opportunity to go speak to the families, but I just want to bring up their names as well, so we can recognize them. Marie Rusimano, who was a longtime member of the Santa Center, always active, always involved. We lost her. Tony Nimoli passed away, who was, for a long time, 20-plus years, the superintendent manager of the Wessex apartment complexes. Tony passed away. And we had Mr. John Olbrich, who was a gentleman who lived in town, who was, really kept to himself, but was somebody that always was somebody to get up and help his neighbors. So just also in our prayers, and thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, thank you. Tony was another great guy. They all are. If I could just back up for 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, council. I see the people, about the SID ordinance tonight. I hate to say, but due to the circumstances of a glitch in the legal advertisement in the paper, we will not be discussing it tonight. It will be at the next meeting. I apologize for I just found out myself, so I don't want to detain anybody that's involved and then wants to come up and talk about the SID, which is the Special Improvement District, and some of the other ordinances that were going to be discussed tonight will not, due to the glitch in the paper with the legality. So I apologize, to everybody, and it will be at the next meeting, which will be the first meeting in November. No. October 16th, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. I'm sorry, folks. October 16th. Yes, please, just want to let everybody know.
For second reading on October 16th, we'll have an ordinance providing funding for improvements and upgrades to radio communication system for the Borough of Roselle Park in the County of Union, appropriating $100,000 from capital surplus for such a purpose. On 10/16, we'll also have a second reading on ordinance 2416, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Article 17, Section 317 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park regarding curfew for juveniles. On 10/16, we'll also have second reading on an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Property Maintenance, Sections 4.3 and 4.7 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Prohibited Vegetation and the Violations of Penalties. And on 10/16, Ordinance 2418, an ordinance amending the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park abolishing Chapter 34 entitled Special Improvement District. And on November 6th, we will have a second reading on an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Section 3002A of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park regarding freestanding banners.
Again, apologize for those that wanted to come and speak about the ordinances, but due to the glitch in the paper, it turned into a legal matter, and we don't want to, do any more harm than we have to. So on the 16th, everything will be discussed. So if anybody here, is there, I appreciate it. I mean, you can still stay. I mean, it's a great meeting, great night. Yeah, I mean, yes. Also, if you want, you can still stay to the public portion and, say something now or we get up next week. All right? Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry, Councilman Kelly, you're here. Everybody went around, so if you have anything, we'd be more than happy to hear reports.
Thank you. Nothing to report tonight, but I do believe for the Finance Committee, and I guess I'll let the Fire Chief and DPW speak, but I believe they will have something for the Finance Committee to work with in the coming weeks for you guys.
Yes, the fire department submitted theirs,
Thank you.
just this morning, so.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Long.
Throw me off guard there, Mayor. Thank you. First thing we're going to be discussing tonight on the consent agenda is resolution number 20914, which is the annual best practices worksheet inventory. That's the 50 questions that comes out from the state for us to be able to get our final 5% of state aid payment. Happy to say once again, we have scored to be able to receive our 100% of state aid. Out of the 50 questions, we had 33 yes, 7 no, 7 not applicable, and 3 prospective, which gives a score of 43 out of 50. So we will be getting our full 100% of state aid. I would like to just give a special thank you out to Mark Pasquale from the DPW. There's a question on here from FEMA that I gave him the task of challenging with the flood zone for a community rating service system. And I've been informed it's a very big manual, but he has worked on that process, and we are close to getting finalization for that. So I thank you for your hard efforts on that for us to be able to answer yes. And also, we did receive our audit, so that you have presented a hard copy. We will be accepting the audit and doing the corrective action plan at the next meeting. And I have 3 matters for closed session, which is contract negotiations with PBA/SOA, clerical, and DPW.
Thanks. Madam Clerk, do you have anything?
No, Mayor, I'll wait till the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Oxford, Borough Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Legal front supply for the last 2 weeks. I do have 2 matters for closed. Possible litigation involving Mr. D'Agostino and possible litigation of 150 West Lincoln Avenue.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, man, 151. My apologies. 151 West Lincoln.
Okay. Our borough engineer is not feeling well, so we have a substitute tonight. He's doing a good job. Borough engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to update the Mayor Council on a couple items that are in our October 2nd engineer's report. We're currently in the process of applying for the fiscal year 2015 NJDOT grant. We're currently...
David, tell him your mic.
I'm sorry. Is that better? Sorry about that. We're currently in the process of preparing the grant for Colfax Avenue from Pine Street to Locust Street. This is a continuation of the 2014 grant that the borough recently received last year, and Nagley is actually in the process of preparing the base maps, and we're anticipating having the plans completed and going for a spring bid advertisement for that project. Another item that we recently had was for Amsterdam Ave improvements, which was the CDBG project that the borough received a grant under the Year 40 program in the amount of $137,000. We recently took bids on that project, which also included bids for East Clay Ave for a small section that needed to be improved in there that it was damaged over the winter time. For that project, we took bids on September 3rd. We were in receipt of 3 bids, and the low bid was by Smith-Sondy Asphalt Construction out of Wallington, New Jersey. The bid pricing came in favorable for the borough, and that's actually going to be on the consent agenda tonight for the mayor and council to vote on. Another item that's in the works, the stream improvements behind the movie theater. The permits are in hand for that work from the DEP, and we're going to be working with the clerk to coordinate a bid date, get things rolling on that project. Another project on the list here is West Lincoln Ave improvements, which consist of from Fayette Avenue to Laurel Avenue, and then from Pine Street to Chestnut. That project is currently, the project was awarded to Smithsonian. There were low bidders for that portion. And the contractor, we're actually working with the contractor now. We've marked out some of the improvements, and we'll be marking out additional improvements over the next couple of days. And we anticipate work starting on that next week. In addition to that, we also took bids recently on the Charles Street improvement project, which consists of improvements between Chestnut Street and Walnut Street. The bids are currently being reviewed, and we anticipate issuing a bid recommendation to the mayor and council by the next meeting. There was some information that was provided to us by the local gas company that they do plan on having the gas main replaced on there, so that may delay improvements on that project until next year potentially. Another project, another stream improvement project is the Charles Street area by the borough parking lot. We anticipate having the survey completed for that by the end of the month, and then we'll begin the design and permitting process for that. The project will need a DEP permit, which will delay things, and we're anticipating that we can get the permits and have everything in place for a summer 2015 construction timeframe for that project. Another project that we recently took bids on was for miscellaneous concrete repairs throughout the borough. There was one bid received by Roselle & Sons out of Nutley, New Jersey. The pricing for the project was fair and reasonable for the work that was specified as part of those improvements, and that as well will be on the consent agenda for this evening. And technically, it's our report.
Does any members of council have any questions for any?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Sure.
Do we have any sense of a schedule for that very small area that has to be dealt with on Clay? The only reason I ask is it is very close to Bender Avenue, and I wouldn't want to see that being worked on Halloween.
Okay, I mean, the bids were just received on that. We haven't gotten a schedule yet from the contractor as it's just being awarded this evening.
That is something, though, I would ask if they could avoid, having the street broken up at Halloween because of the crowds that could go down Bender Avenue, and that's right on Clay, right off Bender, and it, really would be unfortunate.
Okay, we will make sure when we have the pre-construction meeting, we'll make sure that the contractor is made aware of that.
Anybody else have any questions for any of the borough officials?
I have a quick question. I'll probably have a follow-up call later on, but I know that the streets that are ready to get done very soon, West Lincoln, and I think you mentioned 2 other streets, just be mindful and I guess just take a look at, because in the past, I know that we've had to take down several trees to get the work done. I just want to be sure that we communicate to the residents there what's happening and why prior, not just a letter, but really maybe something that explains, and I know on Ashwood Avenue years back we were able to save some trees by shrinking the street a little bit. I know it's a very high volume area. I'd like to go out there and take a look myself as well, but if you just relay to Tom, I'll probably reach out to him regarding that.
Okay. Thank you. We'll take that into consideration. Sure.
Anything else? Anybody? Okay. I see the reports of the department. I see our chief of the police, Chief Morrison.
too would like to extend my condolences to Ivan Oscar's family. Helen was certainly, without question, dedicated to her position as a crossing guard here in town. I'm going to miss her stories at the corner of Webster and Myrtle Avenue. Spent many an afternoon speaking with Helen as she was crossing the kids and making sure the kids were safe as if they were her own. As I put in my report, we had filed with the United States military to receive some equipment. We were notified this week by the military that we have been approved. They're going to send us their secure website information so we can view what equipment they have. We're basically looking at a couple of transport vehicles that can go through high waters. It could be used in any type of bad weather. I think it would be an asset to the department to have those in town. Also, we've been approved. I received a phone call today by the Attorney General's office. I had put in one of my prior reports that we're one of 8 towns in Union County that were approved to be a prescription drop-off location. The Attorney General's office is going to drop off a mailbox type of box to us tomorrow. It'll be put in our front foyer. The public can come anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, drop off prescription drugs and get those drugs out of their households. Lastly, I would like to mention one of our retired police officers who was recently diagnosed with a very serious illness. Officer James Company Sr. He retired here in 1996. He served the department for 27 years. He was assigned to the patrol division and also served for many years as a detective in the Detective Bureau. Jim was a dedicated officer, always had a smile on his face with the public, was a gentleman in whatever situation he was in. Sad news that he has such an illness that he does. He's resting at home. He is in good spirits. I'd just like to wish Jimmy all the best and God bless, and he's in my prayers continually. And that's my report.
Any questions, Chief, please?
Just, if you're going to go out to, if you're going to leave early, just, I want to talk to you about a meeting with the county. Just want to set up a couple of dates, or just throw out a couple of dates.
Okay.
You, Ken, and I, and a couple, I think Rich Code also,
Okay.
with regard to
Radio?
communications, yeah.
Two things, Chief. First, I'd like to thank you for getting back to me at the last meeting regarding that issue that was brought up in a public portion about the homes in Copper. I appreciate you getting back to me right there to, give the residents, that you're on top of it. And second of all, we had a request tonight from the marching band for their October 11th.
Right.
It says here that they are requesting an officer for crowd control. Advised that if they want a police officer, they have to hire one. So is it possible that, depending on how patrol is, if you're heavy, that you can play the area and just...
I will have to check with the traffic officer. I know he's been in contact with them, so I don't know what he's communicated with them, but I'll check.
I'm just saying, because if there's going to be a problem, then we'll have to let them know that, if they want the officer, they're going to have to hire.
There doesn't seem to be an issue, or none has been brought to my attention.
Yeah.
I actually spoke to him just a couple of days ago about it, and he didn't bring any issues up, but I'll double check with him.
Good. Anything else for our Chief of Police? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now I see our Fire Chief, Chief Signorella. The last
Good evening. Just want to report we had confined space training Monday on Valley Road over by, Crossdale Products, thanks, Mr. Mayor. A couple of neighborhood people in the neighborhood came over. They thought it was the real thing going on. I said, we're practicing. Once a year we have to do a fresh yearly update. We had a good crowd, about 20 of our guys were there. They stayed and watched. People who live on, was that Park Place on the back of there? We're in the process still trying to get over to 145 East Lincoln Ave to do some training. I spoke to the neighbors, they have no problem. And I'd like to thank Ray Parento for helping out, getting that guesstimate budget for the next 5 years, right, Councilman Size? I'm glad you're staying here, keep going right till January 7th? You gonna keep going? Strong? I don't even know what we...
31st at midnight.
Well, thank you. It's good that you bring it back, the 5-year plan. We did it for years. If you could put money aside every year, that would be a great thing if it's possible. Who knows who will be here in 5 years, 6 years, whatever. But it's definitely, I mean, for the large purchases, it's a good practice to put out there. I mean, you guys know the usual we ask every year or something different. But for major items like that, good idea to put it out there. And year to year, council can look at it and say, can we do something every year? So, any questions for me? And next week, we'll be going to all the schools, Fire Prevention Week, and the nursery school, library on Thursday. I'm trying to squeeze in the Children's Specialized Hospital on maybe the following week. I've been there a couple times, and it's tough to leave that facility without a dry eyes. And last but not least, today, 101.5 had an interesting data about 1/3 of folks that live in the state of New Jersey do not have smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors, and I was kind of shocked to hear that. I didn't think it would be that high. And if you notice, there's been a couple fatal fires the last couple weeks. I guess one of our retired state workers last week and his wife. So we go and practice with these kids. They remember year to year. And I guess how many people are listening? We have free smoke detectors and free carbon monoxide detectors. If you don't have one, call Borough Hall. Borough clerk, CFO, I'm here almost every other day or every day, and we have them. We get them donated from Kitty from a state program, and we carry them on the apparatus. The chiefs have them in their car. If we have to replace one on spot, we will do it in the middle of the night, whatever. We go out there, and they're a good piece of equipment. So call. I still say this every now and then. 2014 and people do not have smoke detectors on numerous floors or carbon monoxide detectors. So call Borough Hall. We'll get them for you if you have them. Anything else from everybody? Thank you.
Thank you. And I see we have our DPW.
Good evening. Rich and I submitted our monthly report. Does anyone have questions in reference to that?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's not really related to the report, it's DPW. The library property.
Yes.
We talked about, back in March when we were doing the budget, putting a tree not in the same location as the tulip that was removed, but close to it, and potentially an evergreen tree.
Yes.
Has there been any other?
Yes, we met with D'Onofrio Landscaping.
Okay.
We're working on getting estimates for a sprinkler system.
Okay.
The arborist who just completed the tree management plan, the tree next to the one that was taken down, is slated to be taken down too. So we're working on that project to get prices. We should have them shortly.
And do we have the report for the arborist report?
He sent me the trees that were to be taken down, his typed report. report, he has not sent me. Unfortunately, last weekend, last weekend and the weekend before, he was involved in a motorcycle accident. So it's going to take a couple of weeks to heal.
I think it also on the main roadways where we've taken down trees in the past, I know we were waiting for the fall to do any plantings.
Well,
I know that the council needs to decide how we want to go about the replanting of the trees.
I think in the past there were problems that when the tree was planted, then the resident decided they didn't want to. So I think if we're going to plant trees, the resident should sign some sort of document that they do want a tree and that will not be moved.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
the only issue there is that I know that, and I know Mayor Carty says the same thing all the time, but it's true that people, at least along Grant Avenue, and I'm not saying everybody, but I know I'm going to call anyway, they don't want it in front of their house, but they love trees. And there's some people that love trees and want it in front of their house, but there's very few that are actually like that. So I mean, you might get two people, say along the whole of East Grand Avenue, that really want a tree in front of their house. I mean that's something we have to talk about. I know it's not. There's going to be complaints either way, but at this point, some of the roadways are going to start to look. And I know I talked to Tom about this. It's going to get to a point where we're just going to need to plant the trees, regardless of whether the people really want them or not, because it's going to get really barren.
I got a list of trees from Micah Stone, trees that will not grow 60, 70, 80, 90 feet. And those trees, yeah, those trees could be topped easier. So.
What about the people who have requested trees? Can we move on that? Or are there enough people who have requested trees? So I do have a few people who are always kind of getting back to me saying, when is this going to happen?
What we're going to be looking for is, I believe we put aside $20,000 for the trees, and we're going to try to get a matching grant, increase that to 40. So I think that the trees would be planted in the spring. Give us some time to get the matching.
And no trees in the fall?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Because my understanding all along has been that they'd be coming in the fall.
I'm sure
That's why I'm telling people could be coming in the fall.
Anything else? Yes.
I have a request from the Methodist Church that apparently the bus stop is turning into a unhealthy hazard. People hanging here, dropping their litter. Do we have any of those trash, recyclable, the red ones that we have on the center right now?
Yes.
Can we get one down there for them? Sure.
Put it there tomorrow morning.
I'm just saying, that was one of the requests that it's turning into litter.
Okay.
So
Take care.
they're tired of picking it up.
Okay.
Which is, it is a shame because, when I go out and clean up the highway, it's just amazing that there's a garbage can within 5 feet. It's like nobody knows how to, put it in. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else for our?
Just along that line, is it possible, because I did speak to the gentleman as well, and I know you're referring to the garbage there, because I've seen it. Is it possible to see if that that bus stop can be relocated to another location? Because the other issue is not just the garbage, but the fact that people that are waiting for the bus, there is no bus stop. Now, it'd be nice if there was one, and I think that may relieve some of the issues in that area, but people sitting all over the stairs, they're coming up, and they're walking everywhere. I think that's how the garbage is spread. That's where the issue. I know it's not really a DPW related matter, it's more NJ Transit. But I mean, this is something the council has no issue with. I'll follow up with NJ Transit on it and see, if another location is optimal or a bus stop or something like that could be put there.
I'd like to mention to the residents, now that it's leaf season, to please bag the leaves in the paper leaf bags or place them in a 32-gallon container. No plastic bags of any kind are acceptable. Leaves can be mixed with vegetative waste or grass clippings up until November 15th. From November 15th till the end of the year, The contractor will only pick up leaves. That's my report, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the reports of the departments?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public portion. May I have a motion to open the public portion?
I'll make the motion to open the public portion at this time.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak, please come up, give your name, address, and what's on your mind.
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, viewing audience, Mr. Mayor and Council, good evening. I handed out part of a article from September 23rd, a tax program may be at risk without action by legislators, which states you can spend money in town, and a portion of it will be deducted from a person's taxes. It's a whole program that has to be worked out. On the bad side, New Jersey faces $90 billion in unfunded liabilities. I called the police department this afternoon because it was an open door on a home that's vacant. The response time was fantastic. The first police officer came in 3 minutes, and 4 more came within 5 minutes. The house is okay, it just didn't lock the door. The Knights of Columbus, I'm sorry, to the chair. The Knights of Columbus, will they be giving a rain check?
It will be raining.
Yeah, but will they give you a rain check?
If you want to bring your check, it will be raining. I can't answer for them, but knowing those guys, yeah, they'll probably give you a rain check.
Okay. Providing you bring the food.
Yeah.
Okay. To the chair for the borough engineer. How much is it going to cost for the East Clay Sheridan Avenue little section repair of the street? You mentioned reasonable and fair, but you don't mention a price, and there's no price listed in resolutions.
Sure, I can address that.
Okay, go. I'm happy with it. Go.
Yeah, he's the engineer.
I'm yielding to him.
You're the mayor.
The price for East Clay, that portion of the block, is $35,291.88.
For that little square block?
Yeah, that's the price.
That's about 15 by 15.
It's actually the entire block. It's from, I don't know the limits of the street, but it's from street to street. It's not just that little area.
That they paved? It's
That,
paved.
it's a temporary patch that was put in place. That whole block is getting repaired.
West Lincoln repair, how much?
West Lincoln repair?
Yeah. You had said fair and reasonable price.
Actually, I didn't really put. The West Lincoln project, which is from Phase 2 to Laurel, and then Pine to Chestnut. The total price for that project is $602,077.10.
And to the chair, for the engineer.
Dave, you want to sit over here?
Wherever you want me to sit.
Just a little humor. Oh, go ahead. Ask the engineer. I want to take.
I know I'm little, you're tall, so you're tall, human. How much, for Cifelli, fair and reasonable, how much is the concrete work going to cost us?
Well, the concrete work, basically we've got unit pricing for the project. Borough has a budgeted amount for that.
It's how much?
I said they have a budget amount.
If you would like, the bid package that came in, it's on record. You can pick up the whole thing. And they'll break down every item that's in the package.
Well, I thought he was giving us this information.
It's a unit price bid, and it's a contract not to exceed $48,000. Doesn't mean all $48,000 will be spent. Depends on the amount of sidewalks we have to complete for this year.
The sidewalk, which is 4 inches thick, is $90 a square yard. Concrete driveway aprons reinforced 6 inches thick is $95 a square yard. And 9 inches by 18-inch concrete vertical curving is $40 per linear foot. Depending on how many get done, depends on how much is spent.
To the chair, and the conclusion of my comments and questions. Public service contractor had to take my tree down, well over 80 years old. In the process, when the tree trunk came down, it broke the sidewalk. Will they repair the sidewalk? Okay. And I noticed there are many, many, many trees in Roselle Park which fit the criteria of taking trees down, as my tree. It's on the county roads, the side roads. They have to be 6 feet away from the high power electric line. Are we going to stop cutting down all those trees?
No. No. Again, public service hires the companies that come in and do the line clearing, so the trees will be, cut.
You side.
Yeah. So in other words, no. That's constantly what the public service electric gas will do. And sometimes when they get up there and they start doing that, they will notify our guy to sit back and say what we call hollows. At the top of the tree is hollow. So, thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, viewing audience, members of council, mayor and council, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward and give your name, address, what's on your mind.
Saul Kirsten, 150 Bourbon Street. I came in on the closing comments or the discussion with the DPW, and was there a discussion about asking people where they want a tree in front of their house? I'm sorry, to the chair.
Was
there a discussion asking people if they want a tree in front of their house?
If I could, there was a little bit of discussion of that. There was also, I mentioned that there's a lot of people that don't want a tree in front of their house, but they like trees.
Well, I was just saying because it's not their property.
Right.
Again, I mean, suppose I don't want a hydrant in front of my house or a telephone pole in front of my house. Suppose that person moves. That's for another time. I'm actually here to hopefully affect change before the second reading of, I believe it's ordinance, and Matt could correct me if I'm wrong, 2416, the curfew ordinance. I'll just refer to it as the curfew ordinance. I've said it before, I said it when it was first enacted in 2010, I'll say it again. It's a ridiculous and unconstitutional law, almost as constitutional as the law on signs. Oh wait, that's being discussed tonight. Actually, I just have a question for that, for the law on sign. That first reading, there's a section that's crossed out, section 1,
Correct.
where it says shall be permitted. Just for discussion at a later point, to see where the shall be permitted is put at some other point. But with regard to the curfew, I stated it before and I'll state it again. It's unconstitutional. I have no other way to put it. Because someone, so forget the fact that you're targeting minors, someone who's underage. Forget the fact that they're being basically asked to stop and identify themselves in this country unless there's a reasonable suspicion, even under Roselle versus Nevada. The only time anyone's supposed to identify themselves or provide information is when there's a reasonable cause for suspicion. And the way this law is written, you're just stopping someone because you think they're underage. They don't even have to be underage. They have to look underage. 4 years ago, I used my son as an example, who at that time was 18 years old. But he looked 15, 14, you all know. He looks very young. To this age, he's 22, and sometimes he looks like he's underage. What's that?
I prove.
Correct. So you're stopping someone because they might look underage. Not they are. And they're going to ask them for their identification. And I had the perfect example. Suppose my son, at that time, he had no identification. He didn't drive a car. He had no ID. So what happens then? And I was told that he would be taken to a police station. I presume that the same thing happens now. So if the argument is, and I'll discuss the argument that having a minor out in the middle of the night is suspicious, and a minor at night, there's a high propensity that they may cause crime. Well, men cause crime more than women, so should we have a curfew for men between the hours of midnight and 6? Because more men commit crime than women. Or you're going to target that. So suppose you replace the word minor with the word white, or senior, or black, or Hispanic. Again, it's not targeting someone for who they are because it's not even requiring proof. It's just you look like you're underage. And then and the first instance had A, B, C. Now there's all the way to I. And one in particular that actually my son talked about was subsection G. The minor is in a motor vehicle with the consent of his or her parent or guardian, engaged in normal travel. So if a minor is at someone's house and is parked a block and a half away from their vehicle, and it's after midnight, needs to go to work, which is covered by this, and is walking to their car, for whatever reason, they forgot something, they want to go to work, they want to go for a drive out of town where it's not illegal to be a minor between the hours of midnight and 6. That doesn't cover, it's not covered here. Just them being in the vehicle is covered. Walking to their vehicle is not covered. And then the other one was, what was the one that? They're accompanied by an adult over 21 who's authorized by a parent to accompany the minor. So someone who's clearly over the age of 21, as long as the parent says it's okay for that 21-year-old to be with them, then that's okay. But suppose there's a boyfriend and girlfriend situation, and the boyfriend is over 21 and accompanied with someone who's a minor, 17 years old, or it looks 17, 18-year-old, and they're pulled over. The parent doesn't like the child, doesn't like the boyfriend or the girlfriend. And it looks like the law was expanded to kind of cover details, and the devil's in the details. It looks like it's getting worse and worse. So again, I asked counsel and the attorney to review Roselle versus Nevada. That's one case. And other cases, Wanacue was one, and just repeal the law. Again, if there's suspicion, regardless of your age, a police officer has the right to stop you. Roselle said that. So I don't understand what this would do other than making an officer pick on, or feel like someone may feel they picked on because of what they appear. So if there's any discussion that anybody would like to have or thoughts, Madam Clerk.
Well, I can just tell you that I believe almost all the changes were, the additional changes were taken from Wanacue. That their amended ordinance to further clear up their ordinance.
It still doesn't
We
make
just
it right.
copied some of their additional.
I mean, it still
Just
doesn't
so
make
you
it
know
right.
where
Right.
you asked like where they came from in reference to Wanacue. These are Wanacues.
But I believe Wanacue then repealed it.
No, these are the amendments as a result.
But regardless, again,
Okay.
we're getting into details where we're going to try to pick every instance, and then all we need is one person to not be in that instance. Like the example like Tilly gave. Boyfriend or girlfriend, 21 years old, 18 years old. She looks underage. They stop both of them. Someone wants to go to their car for something. They forgot something. My homework. I thank you, and I'll be back. Hopefully I'll be back, but thank you for your time.
Could I just comment on the ordinance 2421, which is the signs? The word "shall be permitted" is just a grammatical cleanup because it's defining the term sign temporary shall mean, and it's defining what the term is. So to say it shall be permitted, that's the whole point of it. So it's kind of a redundancy. So you're not eliminating anything that's permitted. It's just a definition. So those words shouldn't even be in there. The real meat of the ordinance is the last sentence of that paragraph regarding election-related signs. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Please come forward, name and address.
Seeing no one, I make a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion that the minutes be approved pending any corrections.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion that the bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ordinance for second reading, we have none, which we explained to you earlier in the meeting. There was a glitch in the paper. We'll return it to a legal matter, so they will be discussed at the next meeting. Okay, ordinance for introduction. Madam Clerk, will you please read the ordinance for introduction by title only?
Yes, sir. Ordinance number 2420 will be an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Section 16.1 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park regarding overnight parking restrictions for trucks over 4 tons. 2421 is an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Article 6, Land Use Definitions, Section 4601, entitled Term Definitions of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park with specific changes to the definition of sign temporary. Ordinance 2422, an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Land Use, Section 42302, entitled Permitted Uses of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park to include permanent cosmetics and makeup salon.
All right, let's, anybody have any questions or obligations or questions on ordinance number 2420? If not, do I hear a motion for the second reading?
I'll make the motion that we adopt ordinance number 2420 on first reading, prescribed by law, for second reading on October 16th. All right? 2420.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ordinance 2421.
Make the motion ordinance 2421 be adopted on first reading, prescribed by law, and post for second reading on October 6th.
11/6.
Sorry?
That one's 11/6. 11/6.
November,
24/20 is 11/6.
okay. So on that date, 11/6/2014.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Orders number 2422.
I make the motion, that ordinance number 2422, actually, can I ask a question about that?
11/6, because it's a land use bill.
Same thing, okay. Make a motion that ordinance number 2422 be adopted on first reading as prescribed by law and scheduled for a second reading on 11/6/2014.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Joe, question about that ordinance, actually. Just give me a little more detail. I read through the content of what it's describing, and it's naming a number of different businesses here that Neg 6 recommends permitted use for. Can you just tell me what the potential changes from what it was?
It's permanent cosmetics, color consulting services, day spa, hair removal, ear piercing, electrolysis, hair removal,
So we're
hair
basically
replacement,
we're just adding additional,
hair weaving, makeup, permanent makeup, how they do your permanent eyebrows and permanent eye makeup, scalp treating services, sun tan and tan,
okay, and this is in the B2 business zone?
B2.
But there are other current businesses that are similar to this that have the approval. Each one of them has to go through this specific approval, or is this something we don't currently have?
We don't have any of the number 14 right now, and there's businesses that are willing to perform such services but currently can't unless they go for a variance. This would eliminate
said-
them going for a variance.
We do have 1 through 14, we don't have 1 through
You right now have 1 through 13.
Oh, okay, so we're adding, okay.
We're adding
All right,
14.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay. Now we will go to the resolutions. All matters listed with the asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered to be in its normal sequence of the agenda as part of the general orders. Madam Clerk, could we please read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
Yes, Mayor. 20114, authorizing the tax collector to cancel 2 sewer utility bills for the year 2014 in the amount of $57 each on Block 307, Lot 4, and Block 513, Lot 13. 20214, authorizing the treasurer to issue multiple checks in the total amount of $35,447.63, payable to multiple lien holders for redemption of 3 tax sale certificates and a premium check for $76,000 from the tax collector's premium account. 20314, authorizing the purchase of auto parts to Samuels Inc., doing business as Buy Wise Auto Parts pursuant to a state contract, New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program Agreement. 20414, accepting the resignation of Patrick White as Deputy Chief and a member of the Lorraine Host Company. 20514, awarding a contract to Smith Sunday Asphalt Construction for improvements to various roads, which consist of Amsterdam Avenue and East Clay Avenue. Base bid number 1, which is Amsterdam, and alternate bid A, which is East Clay, in the total amount of $272,996.25. 20614, authorizing the exemption of tax as a 100% disabled veteran on Block 128, Lot 19, as per the tax assessor, and authorizing cancellation of fourth quarter 2014 taxes in the amount of $1,643.66, and issue prorated refund for third quarter 2014 taxes in the amount of $456.50. 20714 is amending resolution number 11814 in accordance with the New Jersey Housing and Urban Development Review of resolution 11814. 20814 is approving the insertion of an item in the 2014 budget for Union County Park Grant in the amount of $1,000. 20914 is confirming that the Mayor and Council have discussed the best practice inventory. 21014, awarding a contract to Sabelli Construction, Nutley, New Jersey, to perform miscellaneous concrete repairs in various locations within the Borough of Roselle Park, and that's in the amount not to exceed $48,000. 2011-14, awarding the purchase of Scott Air Packs, bottles, and masks to New Jersey Fire Equipment pursuant to State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program Agreement. 2012-14, awarding the purchase of turnout gear and bailout kits to Union Fire Equipment Corporation pursuant to State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program Agreement.
Okay, any members of council want to discuss or pull any of the items off the resolutions list? No, if I may, I'd just like to comment on 204-14. I've known Pat White for a good many years. He is one dedicated firefighter. He does so much for our fire department, which is a great unit of volunteers that saves us a ton of money. As you can see, the equipment that's in the rest of these resolutions, that give them the best, that they take care of us. Remember, if we're running out, they're running in. Pat White is also instrumental in every year doing the hose and ladder testing to make sure that the equipment that's being used is safe, not only for the borough's residents of this borough, but also for the firefighters. And not only does he do that, as you all know, Pat is he works for a company, and he goes out of his way to do whatever he can for the fire department and for the borough. So Pat, you will be missed. I will miss you. Hopefully he'll give you your cell phone number, but he's on an asset. So wherever he's moving, they're getting one heck of a guy. So knowing that, then I have a motion to accept all the resolutions as per read.
I'll make the motion to accept the resolutions of the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, thank you. We have one matter before the committee. On behalf of Mayor Riccardi, we will be appointing William Hernandez, 841 Pennington Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey, as a member of the Roselle Park Fire Department, effective immediately to be signed to the Lorraine Hose Company. And again, I'd just like to make a little comment that I know the family. His father is a dedicated officer in Elizabeth. His brother's a dedicated officer in Elizabeth. So again, we're getting an individual that has a lot of years of experience. So congratulations to Mr. Hernandez. Okay, closed session. Closed session. Whereas the mayor and council, Borough of Roselle Park, wish to discuss matters which are described in the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, Sunshine Law, NJSA 10-4-12, and whereas the general nature of the subjects to be discussed in the closed session are possible litigation with the D'Agostino's, possible litigation at 151 West Lincoln Avenue, and contract negotiations with the PBA/SGA, SOA, DPW, and clerical. Okay. Be it resolved, the mayor and council of the Borough of Roselle Park adjourn the open portion of this meeting, open a closed portion of the meeting, discussion of items. Okay, we're closing the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're in closed session. Gentlemen, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to go back into the open portions. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. In the closed session, we discussed possible litigation with D'Agostino's, possible litigation 151 West Lincoln Avenue, the PBA and the SOA, the DPW, and the clerical contracts. At this time, there's nothing to report because it's still negotiations. Make a motion to closed meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.